Welcome to Head Noise, a live stream show where we open up the conversation about mental health. You can join in live or just watch. Whatever you do, we want to support your mental well-being.
Hello and welcome to another Head Noise with me, your host, Phil Parker, and I have another wonderful guest this fine Sunday afternoon. I am joined by Kitsy Higgins. Kitsy is the right pronunciation?
You got it, yep.
All right, cool. I've been butchering names and forgetting to ask before we start for at least 4 episodes. But welcome, Kitsy. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have so many things to talk about, and I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. But essentially, you are amazing in what you do. You're a manifesting master and intuition expert who helps women create their dream life. Sounds amazing. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of what you do, what life-altering transformation that allowed you to reclaim that authenticity, and just life in general. So if anyone's wanted to chip in, please, the chat line is now open. You can text 503-862-9972. You can email, and you can get on the chat live as well. But we're off to the races, everybody. Kitsy, tell me a little bit about you, where you're kind of coming from, what has really led you down the path of mental health or subjects of that matter. We talked earlier before we started. You've gone through divorce, much like I have, so that's always a bit of a head trip. But yeah, let's hear about you.
Yeah. First, thank you so much for having this. This is awesome. I'm so thrilled to be on here today. And thank you for sharing your space. I originally started my whole business and career doing Reiki. I learned about it while I was actually running half marathons with my 75-year-old grandma at the time. I was 25, she was 75. It was great. Something that I'll never forget. And I learned about it when I went for a massage, and that completely changed everything. I wanted to help people with it. And so about 6 years later, I created a local business that I channeled, did Reiki, and I also did coaching. After probably about 5 years in business, I realized how much of an impact I was making locally. I was making women feel more confident. They were trusting their intuition, trusting their guides, trusting their dreams more. And so I said, I have to let this go. I kind of burned it to the ground, not physically, but essentially like mentally and emotionally, and moved my business online. I gave away everything. I told everyone else, go to this place, go to that place, go to this person. And I moved my business online. That has now been 9 years. And my youngest son was born when I did that. And it's not what I thought it was going to turn out like.
Never is it?
Yeah. It's some people make millions. Some people have long healing journeys before they have success. And over that period, I feel that I have learned what we need to do to create a life of the life we want to create, I guess would be the best way. During that period, I've really learned my self-worth. I've valued myself more. I respect myself more and love myself. But then I also have learned my self-power. And when we get to a specific level, high enough, that we can emotionally, that we can really create anything that you want. Usually by that time, generally, most people want to create something that is beautiful, loving, compassionate, and a gift to the world.
Right.
So that's kind of the journey I've been on, and it's just getting better and better every day.
Awesome. The the few things that when you sent me your profile and when I did some research on who you are and what you've been through and everything, being a manifestation master, an intuition expert, they're two things that are closely linked but so very different at the same time. Manifestation for me has always been something that was misunderstood just because without realizing it, at the darkest times, I may have manifested a lot of my own issues. And it's so closely linked to your subconscious and what you believe and everything else that, I have friends, I have people that are in my social circles that I'm constantly telling them, you're brainwashed from previous trauma to believe certain things about your character, about who you are, because of whatever was said to you or whatever was done to you, etc., etc. And people don't really understand that aspect of it because you condition yourself on a regular basis to either accept or not accept behaviors or treatment that is given to you. So really, what was your rude awakening, so to speak, to kind of get you down this path of understanding that you could become an intuition expert or manifestation expert? It's one of those things that I don't think in life, I don't think anyone ever becomes a true expert, but the understanding of it is always very loose anyway. So how did you end up just really getting to that side of the fence?
So when I had my local
join
business,
you there.
when I had my local business, that's when I was doing a lot of intuition. I was doing mediumship and I was doing channeling. So the intuition and I are good friends. So I'm not perfect. We're all not perfect, but I feel like I trust my intuition probably 98% compared to most people that might not be at that level. I've been working with my intuition for, I think, probably about 15 years, where there's some people that are just getting started, which no judgment, but it's just kind of the longer you're working on it. I do also have a digital course on how to increase your intuition. That is a really unique and gorgeous experience. So there was that. That's how I gained my intuition expertise. I believe that goes hand in hand with manifesting, because each person has something in their brain that they say, I want to create. But then, so you might say, okay, we'll do this formula. It's 18 steps, and that's how you do it. Okay, you might have those 18 steps. You might be close, but there may be a few that are off just a small bit that you say, I hate having to do this. Like people would say, oh my God, well, being a medium is like one of the most popular titles. Like you need to keep that. And for years, I kept that title, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to. People would always contact me asking for readings, and I'm like, I don't want that. So as much as all the people around me are saying keep it, my intuition and feelings are saying no. My God, just get rid of it. So it's kind of like that fine line of, yes, you can do the steps to manifest, grow your self-worth, grow your self-value. Like what you said, only accept good things and get rid of all the crap that you're not available for.
The bad energy, so to speak.
Yeah, but then you also have to look and listen to your intuition on what it's saying. That someone else might be like, why are you doing that? But you're like, just because it feels right for me. And that's where that intuition comes into play.
And so for a lot of people who have suffered trauma, your intuition can also lead you astray. Because of PTSD and things like that, your intuition could be throwing up red flags all over the place about something that really and truthfully you're just disabling yourself with fear, because you're afraid of being hurt the same way you were, and things of that nature. How do you differentiate between when your intuition is working in a productive, positive way versus when you probably should be doing the work to
Yeah,
kind of
or
get
doing the
over it.
opposite. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So to me, it's kind of two things. One is if it's positive and kind and loving, it's intuition.
Hmm.
If it's telling you to go down the same path that like created heartbreak, to me, that's not intuition. That's ego.
Right.
Um, I I sat in Reiki circles for 3 years, and during Reiki circles, with the one that I went to, people would hear and see and experience and feel these amazing feelings. And I sat there for 3 years and experienced nothing, just pure darkness. And it was like just uncomfortable sitting for 30 minutes while everyone was just doing everything. And everything changed when I was driving to Arizona from Pittsburgh, and I was going to visit Sedona. And I asked God, I said, God, please allow me to arrive there safely. And I heard, well, if you get there safely, if you drive there safely, you'll get there safely. And I was like, that was powerful. I was like, who was that? And I was
I
like,
mean,
yay,
that's
I
not
heard my
wrong.
inner voice.
That's
But
not wrong,
it
to be
was
fair.
what?
I said it's not wrong, to be fair. If you drive safely, you
We're
generally
right,
get. Yeah.
exactly. And so that's what I did. Like, I mean, I still sped, I still went 10 miles over, but I wasn't like insane and I wasn't like that. But to me,
Right.
that was very and distinct excuse me, someone's calling, of, that was good advice. And then after that, it just continued. So, like, there's
Mm-hmm.
someone I know who's like, oh, well, my guides are saying, or my intuition is saying, it's not mine. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe instead of us looking at it as it's not yours, why don't you just be open to, what you're meant to receive? So to me, I was like, I didn't feel like that was her intuition. I felt like that was something not wanting her to grow.
Yeah,
Um,
and you talk
so
about intuition and manifestation really walking hand in hand, and it is so true as well because your intuition, for example, let's talk about when your intuition is kind of leading you down the usual path of self destruction, so to speak. Okay, you're initially you meet, for example, the most relevant thing I can come up with is for you meet a new person, okay? Whether that's guy, gal, whatever, okay? And your intuition right out of the gate is like watching for the red flags, the flags that you think are red flags that are, oh, this guy's just wanting to do this, or this guy's just wanting to do this, right? While your intuition is also being overly protective, you're also manifesting that into being because you're literally just waiting for something to fit in like square peg round hole. You're just basically waiting for something to go
yeah.
click. Oh yeah, I knew he was going to do that. Yeah, see, I'm not good enough. I knew it. See? And
Yeah. Well, and to me, I think of that as that's two things. To me, intuition would be like, watch out for this person, or like a weird, uncomfortable gut feeling that just feels bad. To me, what I'm hearing, that's more of like kind of like your ego of kind of like looking for what's wrong and being like, how is this going to get screwed up? Like to me, that's a sign of this is going to end badly like all the others. So to me, I would
mm-hmm,
take that as that's more ego because I don't think your intuition would say that. Like your intuition is one. My one teacher said it's like your GPS, which is like your God provided service.
mm-hmm.
So, like really, if it's anything but kind and loving and compassionate, it's the ego. So if you're
Interesting.
picking apart someone like, I wonder how this is going to go badly or how this is going to be like all the others. To me, that's definitely not intuition. Um, so, uh, like there was I learned that most goats don't hang out in cemeteries. And for like a good 6 months, I was like told to go to a cemetery, out where I was living. And I was like, goats don't hang out in cemeteries. Why am I being told this? And then I was like, no go. And then I went to an event, a group reading event, and this person brought forward, who's in Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania. And I raised my hand and she's like, what's this about a cemetery? And I said, well, you told me that ghosts aren't in cemeteries. And she said, you need to like you need to go and move the spirit to the light. And then I did that, and come to find out she was buried in Pennsylvania rather than where she was living in like the South.
Wow.
So like me hearing like go to the cemetery, there's something you need to like transition. And I was like, no, I don't need to. Like that doesn't sound right. So hearing that all the time for like 6 months, that was my intuition. The intuition, my God
Interesting.
provided service was saying, please help this ghost. It's and I'm getting goosebumps, and it's saying, you know, it wants to leave. Please help it transition. And and I asked it. I was like, you know, do you want me to try to exhume your body? And she's like, no, I just want to leave. And I felt like
it's like a CBS show all over again, isn't it?
yeah. Actually, that was who the person was that I met with that did the reading. She was the ghost whisperer. She was the writer of that, and she lives in Ohio. So, so to me, going there and hearing it, and then actually finding that there was a ghost, to me, all of that is intuition, because none of that was negative. Me not hearing was the negative part, but that was my human side. But everything else of me being told to go, me transitioning, me finding out that, you know, I felt as though she stayed back because she didn't want to be buried in Pennsylvania. And she stayed back because she kept on telling her people, please bury me down where I was living. And they weren't respecting her. And so she stayed back, making sure that her wishes were respected. And
so to summarize, essentially what you're saying, if it's negative, for those who are taking notes, okay?
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden we were talking about ghosts and cemeteries, and we're like, how is this mental? Okay, hold on. If you just joined us, we shall summarize for you right now. So, essentially, your intuition is intuition because it is positive. You said God provided. Is that what you said?
God provided service.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So essentially, your intuition is positive. It's generally not trying to be negative in any way, whereas your ego will be the other side. So, now my understanding and my kind of experience with ego, intuition, whatever, the hardest part is the differentiation, and that's where you can maybe speak a little bit to this, because someone who has lack of experience or are still trying to wade through the mental trauma that they've gone through won't be able to tell what the difference between a positive kind of reading or positive inner thought, because if it's being overprotective, it's technically being positive. Let's be honest. If it's saying, hey, don't go there because you're going to get hurt, that's being positive because I don't want to be hurt. That's like you can swing it both ways. It's being negative in the sense that it's portraying that maybe something bad might happen, but it's being positive in the sense that I'm positive I'm not going to get hurt again. So there's a lot that comes with because I don't want anyone like getting in the wrong end of the stick on this side, because you've gotten your experience, you've gone down this path, you've gone through.
I have, but I also started at square one too, and I also had a traumatic childhood, to say the least. To me, it's just, if it's kind, loving, compassionate, or like or feelings or gut feelings, to trust it. That's intuition. If you were saying, if you're creating something and someone in the physical is saying, you know, you shouldn't do it this way, you should do it that way, but you're so gung ho, I'm like, no, I feel like this is right for me, that it's okay, that is more than likely your intuition or your inner guidance that is saying that this is what's best. It might be different than others. It might be also, I've learned too, like with my intuition, that there's a lot of generations before us that didn't do intuition. So a lot of people may not be used to, how do you describe it? Being led by that inner guidance.
Right,
Because so
right,
often in other generations, it was outer guidance. The outer guidance talked. It
right.
wasn't the inner guidance that spoke and kind of navigated that ship.
So when you're speaking to people, which you inevitably do in this field, what are the things that are the most common when you're talking about manifestation and intuition? We were really dwelling on the intuition side of things a little
Yeah,
bit more there, but
yeah,
for both aspects, it really does. I wouldn't say require, but it's best when you're in a good mental headspace. So, like
yeah,
your manifestation of good things, like I was talking about in my darkest moments, like
yeah,
I was almost manifesting the bad things to happen. Yet
yeah,
when things were going wrong for me, I accepted any positivity into my life. So this is where it turned around for me.
mm,
Like, for example, I am not overtly religious in any way, shape, or form. I was raised Catholic. I've been to Christian church. I am exploring my faith. Let's say, okay. Mormons came to my door on a normal day. If I'm just doing 9 to 5 and I'm just busy and I don't want to deal with it, I'm like, nah, I got no time. But then, for whatever reason, I said, sure. What's the harm? Like, just talk about something positive. Why not? I need some positivity in my life. That literally was the catalyst to me manifesting good things. Because from the day I opened the door, and I don't want to say it's because of that faith, it's not. It's from the day I opened that door and accepted good things and positive energy,
yeah,
I then started to see a shift. Like people started to like I always had the friends. I always had the people in my life, but because I wasn't being communicative enough because I was in my own darkness, I all of a sudden was communicating. I was accepting the positive energy but also giving that back and then communicating to others about the stuff that I was going through. It started just everything was just dropping like in perfect order. Like it
that's
just everything
amazing.
started going right.
Oh,
Um,
that's great.
and you know, I say this all the time. We reciprocate the energy that we receive. If you're constantly receiving bad energy, you're going to give that back. So
Yeah,
I started to receive good energy and started to accept good energy, and because of that was manifesting good energy in my own space. So
what
it,
is, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. No,
I
you're
was
the
going to
expert
ask,
here.
what was it that they said? What was it that they said that,
It wasn't
um,
it wasn't necessarily anything that they said. It's more like it's as simple as this. When I was 19, 20, I almost died of meningitis. Okay, I was
oh,
in
wow.
hospital. My mom, who has Alzheimer's right now, but my mom, in her faith and in her belief system, would not allow anyone to be negative or cry or be upset around my bedside in ICU. Okay, it's that. That's what I'm talking about. It's literally not allowing the negative thoughts, allowing the positive energy. Somebody praying over me, it doesn't matter what religion it is, if they're being positive, if they're saying any good forces out there, whatever God there is, whatever we're praying to, give this person good fortune, give him the strength. That literally was the catalyst. It was because I
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily in that belief system, but I was accepting that energy. And
Okay.
because I was accepting that energy, the manifestation started to happen in a very positive way. And
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, articulating it now and saying it to you now, it's even trippy talking about how it happened.
Uh-uh.
But the positive energy and the way it happened, like I could name off all the amazing people I have in my life. All of a sudden, phone call, text message, email, phone call. Like it was like the phone got turned on after being turned off because I didn't pay a bill, which wasn't the case. It was like the energy was being accepted, the floodgates opened, and I was all of a sudden receiving that again.
I love that. And I don't know if I can totally describe as per what it sounds like happened, but it sounds like, in a way, like the best way to describe it, who I am today and how I know the things, is that they were at a higher vibration than you, or a higher energy. And that for whatever reason, like what you're saying, you accepted that energy or that higher vibe. And then you created that momentum and kept that momentum.
Right.
And it sounds like also that when you have negative thoughts, it sounds like you're kind of controlling them, and or you're in more better control of your thoughts, which in turn are creating better experiences.
Right, and that's literally
Yeah.
and that's literally what the catalyst, what the shift was, and so when we I do this podcast on a bi-weekly basis, and one of the things that I'm a huge fan and follower of Jay Shetty. His podcast is phenomenal, and some of the phrases and things and the sayings he has are great. But really, it's all about accepting that positive energy. It's allowing that energy into your life, because when we're feeling bad about ourselves and we're all just like, woe is me, the world is against me. Yeah, the world is against you because you're not accepting the positiveness that is actually in front of you. Like when I got text messages and calls and things like that coming in, the one of the most resonating communications I got was, for some reason I just felt like I needed to text you. Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah. So it sounds like
why do you
something
think that
shifted.
is?
I think it's just, it's many things. It's one is the belief that everything's within you. So essentially, if you're thinking of someone, it spurs them to call you. Excuse me. But two is, it sounds like, in a way, that you shifted out of unworthiness to worthiness.
Right, knowing your worth.
Yeah, and like I have a friend that did that too. Like she had cancer, and then she accepted kind of crap before that from a man, and then she had cancer. And then she's like, I am not available for anything else, and I am not okay with like subpar men or people in my life. And then ever since then, she has just like bloomed from like really just being happy. And then because she's worthy, she can feel all those great, like joyful happiness, peace, freedom, enlightenment. And then for me, I think because I'm a teacher, it's taken me longer. And like I'll look at her and be like, oh, I feel jealous that you got that so fast. But to me, if I'm a teacher, maybe I'm just meant to kind of learn it at a longer phase so I can explain it better. I can explain kind of the intricacies of a worthiness journey, where for her it was just, I'm just choosing to do this and I'm not available for anything else. And she showed to the universe over and over that she wasn't available for anything else, and then it had to comply. And then because she only accepted good, positive, happy experiences, eventually she rewired herself to realize she was worthy, which that's what it sounds like too, is that you have positive experience after positive experience. You didn't accept the crappy ones, and then boom, the universe matched you at, hey, you are worthy, and then you only have good things now. Yay.
Yeah, no, it's and this is and one of the things I really want people to hear today is that I'm just like anyone. I'm not anybody special. I am just me. I'm just like you guys. I've gone through a lot. I was the divorce and everything else. I will own my own inadequacies when it came to a relationship that ended up becoming something that it just couldn't be anymore. One of my favorite Jay Shetty quotes is, just because you love someone doesn't make them good for you. So and honestly, and it's reality. Like, life happens. COVID happened. Like, the amount of things that happened in my life and everyone's lives, but like it just affected everyone so detrimentally to their psyche and everything else that, you know, there was nothing before that could have really prepared us for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, we're all in this boat together, and that's why this was set up. Is because when I was in search, and I say this almost every episode now, when I was in search of some kind of an outlet to be able to communicate, to be able to find that support, I couldn't, and I accepted the positivity from whoever I opened the door to or whatever, but some people don't have that fortune of being visited by Mormons or whatever, or people that are just giving positive energy. Some people
Yeah.
are almost alienated because of their living situation or the like. So
Yeah.
it's important that we reach out to those who are in our phone book. Like, I have 1,000 friends on Facebook. Do I reach out to every one of those people? Probably not. I feel like this is my effort to do so, but it's important. We all have that friend that's like consistent. Travis, buddy, if you're listening, you are that guy. Every week he texts me without fail, "Hey, how you doing? How's everything going? Just checking in. How are you doing?" Like, it's. And I give him crap all the time because I'm like, let me be the person to reach out. Can I just let me? Like you always get in there first, and it's like, dang it, like, why is that happening? But he is channeling good energy. He is being, and that's what we all should be kind of going toward.
Yeah.
When you talk about manifestation and being authentic to yourself, everyone's worthy. Everyone's worthy.
Everyone.
No one is less worthy than another person. Our actions can change where we are on the leaderboard, so to speak. For example, when we go deep into this conversation, someone always tends to bring up, well, what about Vladimir Putin? He's not worthy, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, yes, we're all worthy in our own sense. We won't talk about what he's worthy of because we'll go down a political conversation that I don't want to have. But as normal individuals, I can tell you that we're all worthy. We all deserve to be treated well. We all deserve to be treated with respect. And if you don't treat yourself with respect and you don't own your space and have that respect for yourself, you can't expect other people to have that for you either.
Yeah.
So,
And you also can't get to that enlightenment stage of really creating your life. Because when you are at a place of knowing your worth, then you are kind of at a level, at some point you're at a level where you can be really manifesting and manifesting what your envision in your life is, or envision in your brain is. Also, what is your take on on emotions that are lower vibrations? Do you still feel those, like anger and sadness and frustration and
so
abandonment?
yeah, I'm gonna quote something. Everyone who's watched every episode is gonna be like, "Here we go." Walt Whitman has a great quote: "Be curious, not judgmental." That's how I've been dissolving my anger, frustration, because if we are in a place of response, we tend to be like, oh, can't believe she said that, can't believe she did that, or he did that, can't believe, I don't understand why anyone would do that. Exactly. Be curious.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here to judge anybody. Everyone is going through a lot. Everybody. I don't know. Perfect example, in retail, I was always the manager that went out and had the conversation with a customer because I was able to communicate in a different way. And 99% of the time it's because we as people, when we're at our heightened kind of, I want to speak to the manager, The manager's going to say the same thing, but we just want to hear it from someone of power, you know? And so you go out and you have the conversation. This person had spoken to 3 other people. I was in a meeting or whatever. I was like, let's go out and have a conversation with this person. Found out he was in town because his mom died. And so the energy he was bringing to the table was of grief and remorse and all of these things. And he just wanted to be angry at something. And we happened to... Now, does it make it right that he was angry at the retail place that he was just renting a car from? Not necessarily. But when I came out there and you set the stage, you're like, if we're going to talk to each other like that, let's just end the transaction. How about that? Because it doesn't sound like this is going right. All of a sudden, he turns around and is like, oh, wow, I am so sorry. Like, that's not me at all. It's like a reality check. And it comes back to that accepting. If you accept that, you're on the road to having that be the standard that you get. So you really have to set expectations, set a precedent that, hey, this is not okay. And so you don't get to talk to me that way. It's no different. You're raising I have 2 kids. You have, when you raise the bar and you set expectations, it's like, if I turn around and say, hey guys, every night you can go to bed whenever you want. And by the way, chocolate is free for all. Have fun. Like, how do you think that's going to go for me?
Yeah.
I can tell you I won't be doing a podcast anytime soon. That's for
sure. For me, I believe that all emotions are valid and that all emotions are important to acknowledge and to feel. It's really how you do get to places of heightened feelings, and you can really create that dream life. Because when we are in touch with our feelings, that we are able to reconnect with all of us in the within, and that inner girl or that inner person within us that that fun, playful child, that's the one that is the most powerful manifester in your whole body.
Right.
So, and that's more than likely the most emotional one. So by you being in touch with it, which is essentially your subconscious, so essentially the subconscious, not only does it feel and all that ego stuff, it also can create amazing things when you become best friends with it. And that's where that whole reclaiming your power takes place, is that when you become friends with it and it really, truly feels valued and respected, is where that worthiness can come online and can really be, you can really create whatever you want. I just watched a video too of this person that said that, like, the reason why we go after that goal is because we want to get to be that person. And each of those things that we had to get through to become that person is what we had to go through to become it. But really, ultimately, when we do achieve that amazing thing, it's that we just want to create that world, and that we have to remind ourselves that we have the ability to create anything, and that we have to embrace all the feelings, be in touch with that ego or that subconscious, so that it can get to a high level of awareness, so that you can say, hey, I desire to create this, and I want this experience, and I want that experience, and it's just instantly manifesting. And then we're able to, maybe buy something and it supports the artist, or we're able to travel someplace and we're supporting the airlines and we're supporting that culture and that country with the tourism board. So I think when we put money in the right hands, that it supports local economies and it supports world economies. And it's primarily, I think, good ones. So us being able to reclaim that relationship with our emotions and really accepting them, and some of them accepting them even bigger than like the normal feeling, that we can really get to that place of enlightenment.
Right. Sorry, my dog is like all of a sudden looking for affection. I'm like, no, dude.
Aw.
Like, just why are we doing this right now? You
Usually it's
every
my
time.
cat that usually jumps on my lap.
He's like a kid. It's like just because I'm on the phone, all of a sudden. But yeah, no, 100%. I agree with all the things that you're saying, and one of the biggest, I keep quoting and quoting and quoting, but one of my faves is our search is never for a thing, but for the feeling we think the thing will give us.
Totally.
And, so in essence, we're not in search of anything. We're in search of the feeling. We're in search of, like, yeah, I want $1 million, but really, I want the feeling that comes with $1 million. Not having to worry about debt, not having to worry about bills, not having to worry about getting up for work in the morning, all that kind of stuff. It's attached to a lifestyle, but also it's a feeling. It's a feeling of accountability, not being the responsibility that you have right now. I say this because I literally had this conversation with a friend of mine. Great people, great parents, great individuals that like to be everything for everyone drown themselves in responsibility and forget to take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest thing that you can do is make sure that you are finding time to sit with yourself. And we talked about it in the last episode, sitting with yourself and acknowledging all of the feelings, all of the things that are going on in your body, everything that's happening, because you have to take care of yourself. Because I said this to my dad recently, you're no good to me if you're in the ground. You got to take care of yourself. It's the same thing. If you are trying to take care of your family, it's no good if you're not being healthy. It's no good if you're not taking care of yourself, because you're not coming with a full cup. You're half empty, and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and I think really our bodies are kind of upgrading in a way where like overwhelm is just it's just kind of I'm hoping more people are realizing that when even if they allow themselves to feel, but if they are, that if they're feeling overwhelmed, that they're taking a break, or that they're doing what they can to, like what you're saying, to take care of themselves. I do think it's extremely important to acknowledge your feelings, and to, if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed or anxious, to figure things out, and to like what you said, get curious. It's so important.
Oh, yeah, exactly, 100%. I haven't had any messages this whole entire podcast, and it's because I think we're just having such an interesting conversation. People are afraid to get involved, but I appreciate everyone tuning in regardless. I think this has been a really amazing conversation. But one of the things that I do want to make sure we do, Kitsy, you're awesome, so I want to be able to make sure that people know how to get in contact with you. So, be that as it may, you're still in the very beginning of setting up a community and talking about things of finding a safe space for people to be able to communicate. But you also do this on a regular basis as well, like the manifestation and the intuition and everything. I really just want to know how, other than myself, because now I have you on Facebook, you're done for. But other than how does an ordinary Joe, like one of our listeners, contact you or get in touch, just to really get your services, because you are an incredibly positive person. I think would make a huge impact to anybody.
Thank you. I feel like you're the second person saying that. They're like, "Oh, you seem very positive," and I was like, "Thank you." Okay. And I think what you brought up with the Mormons, right? The Mormons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel that like that shows proof of that presence matters. And I'm not saying it in like a guru standpoint, and I'm not saying it in like a one person's better than the other. But I'm saying it in the fact of that when you are at a higher vibration, that you do impact people that you are around, and you do impact people locally, or like when you're around people. So I think that gives an homage to just people that are doing the work, are doing this self-reflection and this self awareness, and that they are raising their vibration and energy, and that they are making an impact. So the way to get me is on Facebook is Kitsy Higgins, it should be on the screen there. And then my website is beginmydreamlife.com,
Say that again,
and
sorry.
beginmydreamlife.com.
Beginmydreamlife.com.
.com.
You see,
Yep.
you didn't share that with me
Sorry.
beforehand. So there it is on the bottom.
Oh,
Beginmydreamlife.com.
that looks great. Look at that. We got a
Look at that going
scroller.
across. We got a scroller on the bottom. Yep, it's
I
just
love it.
running along. Keep it. Don't worry, it comes around again. There's like three iterations of it. It's beginmydreamlife.com.
I love it.
Um,
Oh, there's my cat. Speaking of my animal. Yeah, there she is. Come on, Em. Um, so that's the way to get me. I have courses. So again, as I stated, my your worthiness journey was kind of like my friends, where it was just kind of a abrupt, fast, and like a very fast jump. For me, again, because I feel like I'm more of a teacher, it was kind of a slower, a slower growth. So
right.
I actually have courses that are from starting from video 1 to up to 5 on worthiness. So if you're like, oh, every time I'm attracting something or want something, I'm getting crap. So that could be a great way on how you can work towards getting to be fully worthy. And then acting and living life as a worthy person. And then what else? I'm also on YouTube, Facebook, and then Instagram and TikTok.
There she is, everybody. Look at that. Look at that
Yeah.
smiley face there, huh? Kitsy Higgins. It's actually kitsyhiggins.com that came up. So
Yeah,
either
yeah.
one, beginmydreamlife.com or kitsyhiggins.com. Don't be afraid to use either. It looks like both of them work for now, anyway. But we'll go with the beginmydreamlife.com. The website. I just want to give everyone a little bit of a rundown of the website. It looks amazing. You have retreats. Manifesting, you've got the e-courses that you were talking about, medium and intuition courses, manifesting courses, business course, heartbreak course, appropriately timed for just after the Valentine's holiday, bundle workshops, it's all there. And then if that wasn't enough, what we were already asking, you've got the contact information as well. All right. What a lovely website, and it
Thank
starts
you.
off with the familiar face that you will recognize if you've watched or listened to the podcast on YouTube or any of the forums that we have. Now, thank you so much for being on the show, Kitsy. You have been incredible. I really
You too,
appreciate you
Peter.
taking the time to join us today, and I think it is manifestation and intuition and everything. It is part and parcel of your mental well-being.
Hmm.
Something I always like to talk about as well, when we're just having any kind of communication about mental health. It's about setting the kind of expectation, but also reciprocating what you're receiving is something that we do as a people anyway. So surround yourself with people who are positive, and you're gonna find yourself so much better off.
Hmm.
Sometimes changing your social circles, and your parents were not wrong. They were dealing with things in a different era and a different time. I was always told, oh, you need to find new friends. They're just bad influence on you. A lot of the time, they were bad influence on me. I'm not gonna lie. You change your social circles, and all of a sudden things change around. And honestly, it's being around positive people that impact us in a very positive way. And but also the manifestation of positivity starts with you. So start believing in yourself, start being positive, start setting the expectation of what you will accept. Again, we're not searching for a thing, we're searching for a feeling. So remember, the feeling comes from you. You can find it within yourself. You don't need anyone or anything to get to that feeling. And hopefully this episode helps you get there. We will be back again tomorrow. I have another amazing guest, and the schedule, I'm gonna have to start posting the schedule in advance, like way in advance, because I'm booked out for months. But there will be mental health events and things like that I will be doing. But you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, as I always say, go with grace, and we'll talk to you again soon. If you want to get on the show, if you want to communicate with me, if you want to get in touch with any of the guests that I've had and cannot find all the stuff that we talk about, which can happen, my number 503-862-9972 is a textable and phoneable number, and then unscriptedproductionstudio@gmail.com. Kitsy, once again, you're amazing. I really appreciate you, and everyone else, go with grace, and we'll see you soon.